I'm partial because I'm an artist, but I would encourage anybody to do art because it's something that enriches your life. It's very fulfilling if that's what you want to do. Just start, just do it. My name is Vera. I'm an artist. I live in Edmonton. I moved to North America when I was 20. I was born in Germany. I lived for a couple of years in Los Angeles, and then I moved to Vancouver. I lived in Vancouver for nearly 20 years, and now I'm here. Right now, I predominantly paint in oils, but I'm also trained in printmaking and sculpture installations. I try to fiddle with everything a little bit. Art is probably the most important thing to me. Art is at my house. I try to do some kind of art every day. I teach on the weekends. I have a lot of friends that are artists. I read art books. I visit art shows whenever I can. It's a huge part in my life. I even paint on my vacations. Some of my paintings, they have a little bit of a story, or a big story. So when I was living in my old apartment, I did have a problem with a mouse. I thought I had a mouse, and it was quite distressing to me. I was quite upset about the mouse poo and the chewing. So one night I said to the mouse, I thought there was one, that I give her one night to take off, otherwise I will set up traps and I will kill her. But I promised the mouse, in case I kill her, that I will do a painting for her or about her. So I did catch the mouse the same night, and I did this painting. So this is how the little guy ended up in my trap. I painted this part, and this is made out of lint, so it actually feels like a mouse. And then this was the beginning of a whole series of mouse paintings. So there is a mouse painting in my back here, behind me. There's a little mouse trap right here, and in the carpet there's actually little mice drawn into. That's the mouse story. I think my first experience was when I was maybe 10, 11, and I did a little watercolor, of course a sunset. That's what you do when you're that age. And my brother walked by and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just painting." And he goes, "When you're done, can I buy it for $50? And he did. And I thought, oh, this would be awesome if I could make a living doing something that I love this much. Yeah. Then when I came to Vancouver, I was running an art gallery, a framing store. I did that for nearly 20 years, so I had a lot of experience with artists. I did some commission work, and I did my own art a little bit. And when I came to Edmonton, I got my university degree in fine arts at McEwan University and the U of A. My influences are, of course, some of the old masters like Rembrandt and Goa, Barlach, Otto Dix, and of course also contemporary artists like Fatsum, my friend and co-teacher, and Darcy Mellon and Danik, as he's a sculptor, Peter Hyde. There's a lot of really great artists that I know and that I respect. Gillian Villens is one of them. And of course also my friends that are artists and the students that I teach, the kids that I teach. This is actually a very important person to me. She's one of my inspirations. She was a teacher at the MacEwan University that I attended, and she was very tough and fantastic teacher. I like having her in my studio because she just looks like you better start working. Darcy Mellon. Every art piece has a different process. Sometimes it's really organized, especially with printmaking. I have an idea, I write the idea down, I sketch things out, I research, I'm really organized. And sometimes when it comes to painting, I just start painting. When it comes to sculpture, I just hold on to metal pieces. I do abstract sculptures. So I hold on to metal pieces and I move them around and I see how it works. And then I attach them. So it just is a work in progress, and I don't have an idea of what I'm doing until it's finished. So it's always different. This art piece addresses a story that I read in the newspaper about Jamal Khashoggi. He's a journalist that went to the consulate in Turkey in 2018. He went inside and he never came out. And the only reason why we know for sure that he didn't come out is because his fiancée at the time was waiting outside the whole time. And she said for sure he didn't come out. It turned out that he got killed in the consulate. He got tortured. And this is what I got from the story. This is how I picture his apartment. It's empty. There has been some violence. This is why the monstera is on the ground. And this pillow is a representation of his turban. So this story really touched me. In this series there was like 4 or 5 paintings. This is my favorite though. Yeah. These heads, this is a representation to me, or what I wanted to say is, this is what you see when you're looking at a person, but this is how they really feel. The holes and the shows anxiety, stress, discomfort, but really all you see is this, and you don't know how a person really feels. I really like to sculpt because I like abstract sculpture. There's good ones, there's bad ones. I studied with Peter Hyde, who is a very good abstract sculptor. He's very famous here in Edmonton, and he's a very fantastic teacher. I think actually he stopped teaching this year. But his sculptures are very massive, some of them, very impressive. And I personally like sculpting abstract with metal because it gives me a sense of power. Here I am, and I'm welding, and I'm using tools, and I'm creating these massive sculptures that I can't even move because they're so heavy. And they just make a statement when they stand. I like to think that my sculptures work with the space they're in, and that they work even with nature. Some of my sculptures are at my work, which is here in Edmonton, Massage Therapy Supply Outlet. The owner is a big supporter of artists, and he's an art collector. So I'm actually surrounded by my sculptures every day, which I love. I also like figurative sculpting because it expresses an emotion and an intention. Like the sculptures that I showed you before of the 2 heads. What you see and how this person really feels. Everything is stressful when it comes to art. But what I gravitate most to is different. It depends on the day. Sometimes I feel like painting, and sometimes I feel like sculpting. Right now, however, I don't have the facility to do welding, so I work with wood as well. So I do sculpting with wood, and I do painting because it's easier for me, accessible, and it's portable, so I can also do it outside. This dress was an art project that I did at the MacEwan University, and what I did is I grew in my apartment grass, and when it was knee high, I cut the pattern for the dress and I sewn it, and it was actually in an art show. So when it was in the art show, the dress was actually living, it was growing, and I had to cut the grass and water it frequently. And it was just an alternative to fur. Instead of fur, I was wearing a dress, and it was alive. It also had a headpiece that had a while, and it was something like this. And it looked quite amazing, I thought. I quite liked this project. It was a really long process because it took me a long time to grow the grass, but it was really interesting because it was also in my apartment. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I can honestly say I grew grass in my apartment. The way I balance work, art, and my life is I'm trying to be really serious and intentional. I have my regular work schedule, and then usually I come home, I relax, and I paint. There is also days where I go for a walk, where I spend time with friends. I think the thing is just to be a little bit organized and have goals. Earlier in this year, my goal was to do a painting every day, and these are actually paintings here in the back. They're all from the month of February.
That's awesome. It's beautiful.
You have to be a little bit disciplined. You can't come home and then watch TV. You can't, go out and party all night, because it's just gonna encompass the rest of your next day, right? It's better to be a little bit organized. I mean, of course I have fun as well. I think my life right now is quite balanced. I enjoy the public art that we have here. Some of the arts I like, some of them I don't like, but even the ones I don't like, I still appreciate it being there, because I know somebody else might like it. I enjoy all the art galleries that we have here, and the events. I like the works, I like the art walk, I enjoy it. I know that a lot of people have maybe ideas that it should be bigger, it could always be better, but I really enjoy Edmonton and the art scene. What I would improve is I would encourage people more to buy art. Even artists sometimes don't buy art from other artists because they're concerned about the money. Of course, everybody is. But I believe that if you expect your art to sell, you should also buy art. Even if you're not an artist, you should be supporting the arts because it enriches everything. Well, see, it's really hard to make a living as an artist. That's why I have a full-time job and I do the arts on the side. But it would be fantastic if there was be more funding. If I could do this full-time, I would be much happier. But, I'm making it work the way it is, and I have to say I'm satisfied right now. It always could be better, but I'm very satisfied with my life and my artwork right now. I get inspired by nature, by flowers, by plants. I have a lot of plants in my paintings. I get inspired by conversations, by everyday occurrences. Sometimes it's as simple as a paint color that inspires me. These are still lifes, and the story behind them, it's a little bit tricky because some people will get it and some people don't see it. But the way I see it is if you see two apples and they're almost cuddling, there is a relationship between them. Or there is that apple that has the blue background. The blue backgrounds, for me, it is the sky, and the cloth is something that comforts the apple. However, the apple seems quite lonely, and that's how I felt at the time. So I have intention with them. Maybe it doesn't come across all the time, but sometimes things are in twos or threes, which means, there is a relationship, a bond, and sometimes it just sits by itself, which shows a little bit of loneliness or maybe disconnect. And sometimes with the grapes, the grape is just a grape. I just like wanting to paint a grape, so it's just a grape. These still lifes I painted, and as soon as I showed them to my friend Fetzum, he thought that I was in a really dark space, that I was really angry, because they're so red, and the leaves almost look like claws. But however, I was in a really funny and quirky space, and I just loved the color red at that day. And I wanted this to look like a spider, so it's just playful. I'm partial because I'm an artist, but I would encourage anybody to do art because it's something that enriches your life. It's very fulfilling if that's what you want to do. Just start, just do it. You know, I started off taking some little art classes here and there. Then I took some university level courses before I enrolled in university. And then I did it full time for 5 years. And I want to say it's the most rewarding thing that I did. It also helped me be really focused and work hard on it. And that's very empowering and satisfying. I mean, it can be frustrating, of course, but it's mostly satisfying.
Yeah.
This is with copper.
Okay.
So you etch things, and then you put ink on it, and then you wipe it, and then it's a big process. It's very complicated. But that's what makes it rewarding.
Yeah.
Also, you could screw it up really easily, which happens all the time. This was a series about false memory. So I had these roots. And what happened is I was talking to my sister, and often what happens is she says, Vera, that's not true. That didn't happen to you. It happened to me. Or I go, you know, Sandra, it went a completely different way. This is what happened. So we're having the same memories and the same childhood, but remember things differently. So what I did is I took these roots and then I made prints of a memory that I thought I had, or that I think I had, and I sent the roots all the way to Germany, and she created the same memory the way she sees it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So I think they're actually here. It was in an art exhibition, so they have matting.
Okay.
So this is the way I wrap them up.
Oh, really? Real roots?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
When she got them, they were rotten. She was not a big fan of that. So this is the roots before I sent them. This is my memory of April 23rd, 1988. So I created this memory. Yeah, this is actually one of the more investigated, because I did a lot of research. And this is my memory of Christmas 1997. And then these are my, oh, are the roots again. And by the way, I still have these roots. This is how my sister got them. She was not impressed. The smell was horrific. I don't even know how they got over the border. But this is Sandra's memory.
So your sister paints as well?
No, she just sent me photos and I made the...
Okay.
And this is her memory.
Wow.
Yep, in a circle. Yeah, this was one of my favorite projects.